Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I was dreading going last for the obvious reasons of duplication. There will be some, but you'll have to put up with it. April Fool. For me, this brings back memories, fond memories of school and the tricks we used to play on fellow pupils and, of course, the teachers. Now, it's been a long time since I played an April Fool, and even longer since someone played one on me. Where I work now, all my colleagues, they're so serious and so conservative. There's no frivolity where I work, so my last memories go back decades. So where did it all begin? Well, it's been claimed it began in 16th century France, when the calendars were changed. The year was changed from the 1st of April to the 1st of January. But many people, particularly those in the rural parts, they wouldn't accept it. And they were teased, and they were taunted, and called Poisson d'avril, April fish. So called because apparently a young, naive fish is easily caught. Though what constitutes a naive fish? And I'm sure that Mark Twain would bet it if anyway, the author who wants to find fishing as a pole with a fool at both ends. Tricks and jokes were spread on these poor April fish, and the tradition spread from Europe throughout the world. But an alternative idea was put forward in 1983 by a professor of history at Boston University. He claimed it all originated in Roman times, during the reign of the Roman Constantine, and it was claimed that fools and jesters of the court could actually rule their empire better than the emperor himself. Now that may have been true of some emperors like Caligula or Nero, but not Constantine. Anyway, Constantine gave these people a chance. All the fools could rule for one day of the year. But no record stands of what rules they made, because Boskin revealed in due course that the whole thing was a complete hoax. He made it up. So I'm delighted to be able to reveal to you today the true origin of April Fool. It goes back much further than you can possibly ever imagine, over 30,000 years. There is now incontrovertible evidence that our ancestors, Homo sapiens, played April Fool tricks on our poor, unsuspecting hominid relatives, the Neanderthals. There are cave pictures in the south of France and in Spain and Croatia depicting Neanderthals running for their lives, being pursued by saber-toothed tigers or other wild beasts, and then images in the caves of Homo sapiens pointing at them, bent double and laughing, expressions on their faces indicating mirth and glee. And the pictures reveal that somehow these Neanderthals were lured to a place where they thought there might be berries or nuts, but it was by the lair of some wild beast, and they would be forced to flee for their lives. And there are many respected and distinguished anthropologists who now see April Fool as responsible for the demise and disappearance of Neanderthals, who would appear more naive than even a poor young fish. So it's sobering to think that April Fool, this humorous activity, goes hand in hand with the genocide of an entire species. Now, of course, the tricks we played at school didn't result in pupils being chased by saber-toothed tigers or woolly mammoths, but it did result in them being pursued by irate teachers or janitors who were the victims of the various pranks. You know the tricks I mean: Vaseline spread on car windscreens, drawing pins on teachers' chairs, an apple off to the teacher with a garlic clove embedded in it, and fake dog poo placed prominently in the janitor's storeroom after he'd mopped it clean. However, all of these tricks are innocent, calculated to amuse rather than to humiliate. And after the initial ranting, raging, wailing, gnashing of teeth, everybody saw the funny side. Well, almost everybody. Now, of course, there's been some very famous tricks perpetrated on the public by the media, and the most well-known include, in 1957, the BBC showed these Swiss farmers we've heard about growing spaghetti on trees. Now, in those days, people didn't eat much pasta in this country, and they were confused, but they wanted to actually grow them themselves. You could say that they were confused to eat. In 2008, the BBC aired a documentary showing penguins flying north to escape the harsh Antarctic winter. That's the beauty of computer graphics. Ironically, most of them ended up in Chile. And in 1976, the respected astronomer Patrick Moore announced that due to a once-in-a-lifetime gravitational alignment of the planets Pluto and Jupiter, somehow gravity on Earth would be diminished and enabling people to experience a strange floating sensation in their houses. And ironically, scores of people rang the BBC to tell them they'd done the very thing. They had floated around their living rooms. It's a shame that so many people didn't understand the laws of gravity, which is ironic since Newton, a British person, explained them centuries beforehand. And of course there was the Guardian newspaper, those fictitious holiday islands with towns called Garamond or Bodoni, all based on typographical fonts. But again, scores of people rang. We want to go there. It sounds a fantastic place for a holiday. But my favourite of all has to be one instigated by Burger King. They advertised a left-handed Whopper, designed for the millions of left-handed Americans. All of the ingredients were the same as the traditional Whopper, except everything was rotated by 180 degrees for the benefit of the left-handed customers. Thousands of people went into their Burger Kings and ordered one. And I'm sure the more discerning clientele at McDonald's would never have fallen for that trick. So April Fool is still very popular. So why do we celebrate it? Is it traditional because April marks the end of winter and the end of the cold, cold spring and dawns the summer and the long evenings and the warmth? This is always a relief, even if you're a penguin. So we feel happy, we feel jolly, and we want to show this by a harmless bit of fun. And by the way, please don't kick me when I return to my seat.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, the time was
6:45.
6:45. 6:45. So I think we've had a very good competition. I found it really light-hearted and uplifting.